Okay, so you think you understand a $180 sneaker. You've seen the receipt. You know, roughly, that a shoe like this comes off a factory line somewhere in Vietnam or Indonesia for something like $20, $25, maybe $30 in raw materials and labor. Foam, mesh, rubber, glue, a few hours of stitching. You've probably seen the breakdown online. That makes you feel a little robbed. A swoosh stitched on for a few cents, sold to you for the price of a week of groceries. That is the story, and it is not entirely wrong. The manufacturing math really is that lopsided. A shoe that costs around $28 to physically produce really does sell for 6, 7 times that at retail. Can look that up. Here's what that story leaves out. The markup isn't the scam. The markup is the business model, working exactly as designed, and the reason has almost nothing to do with foam and rubber. Nike doesn't primarily sell shoes. Nike sells the right to belong to something, and the shoe is just the receipt for that membership. Somewhere around $4 billion a year, sometimes more, gets spent not on making shoes better, but on making you want them. That number alone is bigger than the entire annual revenue of some publicly traded footwear companies. Here's what actually built the empire. Why the golden swoosh almost died twice, and why the company that invented the modern sneaker war still can't stop fighting it. So how did a company that started out of a car trunk end up controlling how the entire world thinks about sport? It wasn't one thing. It was 6 decisions made over 60 years that most competitors never fully copied. It was a University of Oregon Business School paper that argued Japanese running shoes could out-engineer German ones. It was a handshake deal that turned a track coach's waffle iron into a rubber sole. It was choosing to manufacture nothing and control everything. It was signing an unproven rookie for a fraction of what a superstar would cost. It was treating advertising as a religion rather than an expense line, and it was refusing again and again to sell you a product, insisting instead on selling you an identity. Phil Knight didn't start as a shoe designer. He started as a runner who did the math and realized Japan could make better shoes for less than Germany, which at the time ruled the sport. 1964, Blue Ribbon Sports begins as an import operation, selling Japanese-made Tiger running shoes out of the trunk of a car at track meets across the Pacific Northwest. No factory, no product of his own, just the distributor's eye for a gap in the market. By 1971, Knight and his old coach, Bill Bowerman, had broken from that Japanese supplier and needed a shoe of their own. Bowerman famously poured rubber into his wife's waffle irons, looking for a sole that would grip better on the track. That waffle sole became the foundation of the first shoe to carry a new name, one taken from the Greek goddess of victory, Nike. What made the next decade wasn't the shoes themselves. It was a decision most competitors never made. Nike would design the shoes, but never build them. Nearly the beginning, manufacturing was outsourced to factories in Asia, first Japan, then Korea, then Taiwan, then wherever labor was and most flexible. That single choice is why the $28 production number even exists. Nike wasn't paying for a manufacturing workforce. It was paying for design, marketing, and the swoosh. Everything else, someone else absorbed the cost of. If the shoe barely costs anything to make, where does $150 in margin actually go?